Okay, we're doing an emergency pod here. And so I've given you the quote. Go.
I have a love in me, the likes of which you can scarcely imagine, and a rage the likes of which you would not believe. If I cannot satisfy one, I will indulge the other.
Yikes.
Ooh,
Am I right? Who's having a good day and who's having a bad day? It just depends on the day there, doesn't it?
yikes.
Yikes indeed. Hello and welcome to our surprise episode of
Into
Into
the
the
Shelleyverse.
Shelleyverse. I'm David Campbell.
I'm Lisa Campbell.
When we came up with the idea of doing Into the Austenverse, we realized, bless, she only has 6 main novels.
Yeah, well, no, we thought that there would be 6 episodes.
Yeah, we did. And that's obviously extended. But at the time, we thought, what else could we do? And we knew that Wuthering Heights was coming out, so we could do something on that. We knew that Christmas was coming out. What if we did a Christmas Carol? We knew that there was a new Netflix adaptation of Frankenstein. So we thought, we could do Into the Shelleyverse. We had all these alternate ideas. And then all of a sudden, it was like, oh, Frankenstein's going to happen. Are we going to do this or not?
And we know that there's so much more that we wanted to talk about in the Austenverse.
Yeah.
So we just thought, well, how about we do both?
Yeah, that's right. So you're going to get this episode today. And don't worry, Austen heads, we have an episode coming tomorrow, which, of course, is Northanger Abbey.
Yes. So we'll be back to our usual programming as of tomorrow.
One of the reasons why we did do this as well is because we had a friend of ours who is loving the show that reached out to us and wanted to be a part of it too.
Yes. And do you want to say that is?
Well, we'll show them in a second. But just quickly, where can everyone find us?
You can find us on Instagram at Into The Austenverse.
Not Shelleyverse.
Oh, gosh. Should I have set up separate?
No, we should know. No.
On TikTok, Into The Austenverse, not the Shelleyverse. And on YouTube, Into The Austenverse. And if you want to email us, you can email us at info@intotheaustenverse.com.
But without further ado, here is our episode of Frankenstein.
Hello.
Hi.
We've got a special guest today.
And it's someone we're very, very close to, and someone who is just the most fabulous person and is not only the godmother to our daughter Betty, but really the godmother that we need in Australia right now.
This is true.
Ladies and gentlemen, Magda's here to celebrate Frankenstein. Oh, hello.
Hello. Hello, darling.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi.
I'm also here on behalf of Mary Shelley, who I still feel that her voice is yet to be represented, but we'll get into that.
First of all, we know you've been listening to the pod and we appreciate the support.
And loving it.
But what about this project and doing Frankenstein? Why was that appealing for you to jump on board with us with?
Because I love this book. I love this book. I've read it several times and I listen to the audiobook a lot. I think Dan Stevens actually does a very good job. So as soon as, I love the whole thing that you're doing, the whole Austenverse thing. But when you said Frankenstein, I'm like, oh, can I come on? Can I talk about Frankenstein? Because it's a brilliant book and it's a genius book. It's one of those things where someone sees beyond their time and place, and she really intuited something quite brilliant, and it's, when you read it, it's like, it's incredible. We're talking about this, Lisa, like she started writing it in 1816 when she was 17 years old, which is beyond extraordinary.
It's wild. Absolutely wild. Now, obviously, she came from a very intellectual family and had been brought up amongst great thinkers.
And writers.
But to just be, I don't know whether it's apocryphal, but the idea was that this was the year of no summer, because the ash cloud had descended.
From a volcano.
Yeah.
In Indonesia.
And we've been there.
Yeah, we have.
We've all been there.
Yeah, we've all been there.
And so therefore they were herself and Percy.
Her husband.
And Lord Byron. And what was the other chap called?
Polidori. Dr. Polidori. Dr. Polidori.
Hello, I'm a Dr. Polidori.
Yes, it's very Caligari, isn't it?
And here we are, what, 2 minutes in, and David's done his first accent.
Yeah.
And Dr. Polidori.
Yeah.
And they all decide to have the challenge of writing a
ghost story, whether they can do it better. And from this little sort of challenge come two amazing genres, the Frankenstein genre and vampire genre. It's incredible because Polidori wrote the vampire with a Y.
Vampire.
Vampire.
2 accents. We're 2 down already.
Oh, 2 for the price of 1.
2 accents in a wig. That's what this is going to be called from now on.
Excellent. Excellent.
So, talking about the novel, what do you think? You mentioned about how it seems ahead of its time in some respects. Can you drill down on that?
Well, the thing is that with those sort of great pieces of literature, they intuit something. The people who write those things, they intuit something that is sort of coming but hasn't yet fully, it's just beneath full recognition. And so you're coming out of the period of the Enlightenment into the Romantic era. And there's what some people have called the counter enlightenment, where they're sort of going, hey, all this sort of super rationality and, hard head, cold heart is, there's always a reaction. The pendulum swings the other way. Of course, she's surrounded constantly by genius as well. So there's her mother, Mary Wollstonecraft, who sort of vanished actually for a little while, but then became an absolute staple of second wave feminism. Her writings on feminism were extraordinary post the French Revolution. So she has this genius, unconventional mother, a brilliant, I don't know if I'd say her father was a genius, but deeply unconventional father. But then she comes up with something that's complete. I mean, they're writing these political treatises, and she comes up with a ghost horror story. But it is in story form. It's a warning of thinking and science and knowledge. It's the quote at the end about knowledge, like how it can destroy. I can't remember exactly what the words are, but you've probably got them there, Lisa. You're such a girly swat. But
yeah. You're right.
Yeah. And she saw that. It's like the best sort of speculative fiction. I mean, the other one that's amazing like that is The Machine Stops by E.M. Forster. Again, writing a genre that... Did you not know about this?
No.
Oh, my God. I think it was like 1906 or 1903 or 1909, one of those. And it's this book, things like The Matrix really draws on it. And it's post sort of an environmental apocalypse, and people live in these pods under the earth. They just live completely isolated. They communicate. They have these sort of tubes that communicate them, and a machine provides all their needs, caters to all their needs. They have music and air coming in, and they communicate. They never see one another. They communicate with these blue sort of like iridescent plates.
Oh, God.
Like
this one I'm holding right here.
Like exactly what you're holding there. And sometimes you've got to wonder whether these people, are writing about the fears of the future, or in some ways actually bring it into being, because as we know, a lot of inventors read science fiction and get their ideas from there. But yeah, her book's a giant warning. And it's just so well written. When you read it, when you start reading it, you're going, who can write like that when they're 17?
I know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I mean, obviously this is an Austen-based podcast and we've pivoted here, but I feel the same way about Jane. It's like, first of all, they're doing it by hand with inkwells and
they don't
feathers.
have cut and paste.
There's no cut and paste. There's no one helping them. And they're just like sitting there scratching away at parchment. And it's astounding that they're just getting these ideas out, these 2 women, especially now that we're talking about Shelley, that is so, I don't know how long she's sitting staring at wherever there's at an ash cloud, thinking about when it all forms, and when that goes, okay, now I've got the story, I start and put it to pen to paper. Or if, like Emma Thompson spoke recently about AI on the Colbert Report, when she was talking about on the Colbert Show, I should say, I went back 10 years, where she talks about the fact that she has to use her hand to write because it's connected to the brain, and all the studies of that. It's like the writing is connected to the hand, and the handwriting, the creativity, you don't think as much. It all flows through better. So, but that's
whereas I find actually I love, as soon as computers came in, because I'm so impatient and kind of ADD, the fact that you can cut and paste. If I had to do that laborious thing, because I do look in amazement at those people that write those, War and Peace, or oops, got a bit wrong. Where was that bit that I want to move to there? The act of creation. And that's so much a core theme. And she's got Byron and Shelley there, some major egos going on.
Yeah.
And so this woman, because to me, and I don't know when you want to get onto the film, but the whole thing of that sort of Napoleonic complex, which is not just about being a short man, but also the compulsion to seek and aspire to glory and to make one's mark. And that's why I love the Robert Walton stuff that opens the book. But it is just that ongoing theme, and it was a theme of that time, and it's very much related to empire and all those sort of things. But she's sort of just got something that was going on, which was the danger. Look, honestly, I think it's like she almost sees she can glimpse incipient fascism, because it's that Central European. My family come from Central Eastern Europe. That kind of body fascism and the perfectionism and the idealism and a whole lot of that sort of stuff. And it's not for nothing that she said it in Geneva, in that part of the world.
So when you said we were going to reference the films, I'm just going to go on to that moment that you talked about the men around her. The films that we've seen and the films that we've got, all of the films that I'm aware of are created by men, and yet the story is written by a woman.
Yeah. Yes.
So I'd love to talk about that. I mean, for me, the thing that's really interesting is that, and this is from me coming at this, having understood the concept, the sort of cultural phenomenon of what was Frankenstein, and growing up thinking, bolts and necks and more about monsters than the novel.
Yeah.
But for me, I had always assumed that that aspect of the creation of the creature was going to be really paramount in the book. And it's not.
No.
Because Shelley seems so much more interested in whether this should happen than how it happens.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting to me that I don't know whether it's because of cinema that we need that bit, or whether it is the fact that there's that sort of masculinity, there's that desire to the creation that is important to not only Victor, but also those male filmmakers.
Oh, they are Victor, and unwittingly. I just want to say there's some things I love about the film. I think Jacob Elordi's fantastic in it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How good was Jacob Elordi's northern accent, though? The fact
Really
that
good.
he'd
Really
learned English from northern people was really good.
Yeah, really good. I thought that was a really interesting twist. But to me, also speaking as a Catholic, it was far too Catholic in its imagery. This is not a Catholic sensibility. It's a sort of anti-religious. There's also talk about God and creation. Victor Frankenstein is not born of religion at all. It's about, he comes from science, he comes from that irreligious sort of background, and that's what she's warning about. And that's the thing. This is where there were so many interesting parallels that could have been drawn with what's happening right now with the tech bros.
And the fact this is on Netflix as well is really interesting too. But that's what I found really fascinating, is that this will be a big push for them. They'll want to get Oscars out of this with Guillermo.
Yeah.
They've given him hundreds of millions of dollars to make this. He's built an entire ship on a gimbal so it rocks, and he's built these huge sets. He's done color palettes for every character. And yet at the same time, I felt for both times we watched the two movies,
that's the Branagh and the
Branagh and the Del Toro one, I still felt like this doesn't feel like Mary's Frankenstein. This feels like your interpretation, almost like they're Hamleting their own Frankenstein. This is my interpretation. It's like, when are we actually going to stop putting a name on it and just do hers?
Yeah, I think that too. And I would love to see a series, like a several-part series of it, because it is so jam-packed with philosophy and what it means to be human and what is a soul, and the character stuff in it. And the other thing is, it's so much about grief, in that very 19th century way, that the idea that people lost more people and so they felt grief less is just nonsense. They experience grief. You read Charles Dickens or any of those people talking about losing their children, and it's just devastating. And she, of course, had a great deal of loss and grief in her life. I don't like this thing in the film where it's like trying to cheat death. It's like death happens. And instead of having that ego where you feel you can't accept it, it's like, what do you do in the face of that? And that Napoleonic sort of complex is like that. It's like, it's the grandiosity of it, that I'm too good for death, which I don't have a lot of time for.
Did you also feel like the Charles dances in this opening section with the Guillermo del Toro one, where he is the bad father who Victor Frankenstein eventually becomes? where what is scarier is Victor Frankenstein just creates this out of just Victor Frankenstein. Like in the
Yeah.
book, it's like, I believe I can do something. I start to read all this existential stuff that's nothing to do with medicine that I'm like, well, these old, apothecaries knew some stuff back in the day.
Yeah,
I'm
the
going to
old
bring that in,
alchemists.
the old
Yeah.
alchemists.
Yeah.
And then I've created something new. And that's what makes it aligns with like AI. And we've created something new and we don't know what we're releasing into the world.
And also, just to put an extra layer on that, is the fact that in the book, Victor's coming from a very incel situation. He's the one who's saying how lonely he is, how that he wants to own something. When he first meets Elizabeth, Elizabeth is brought into his family and she's a child. His mother says, "We are giving you Elizabeth."
Yes.
And there's all of this about owning people. They are mine. And then I think that for me is something that he is constantly looking at. And because I am a girly swat, I've shown all of the times that they talk about ownership of humans. That's the light blue.
Right.
But it's the aspect of understand. Don't
You and I are
No,
never
it's
going to
not
do
that.
that, David. We're not going to do
No,
that.
it's far too chaotic.
But it's that thing of that just plays in again as another layer for all of that, the incel tech bro situation. I feel as though it feels incredibly current, which we don't necessarily get when we're getting the new idea of Frankenstein Senior, who is now beating
Saddest.
yeah, and therefore that's exactly how Victor Frankenstein behaves with his son.
Well, it's not a new idea either, that sort of transmission of trauma. He's not ploughing fresh ground with that one. Whereas what's sort of interesting in the book is that he has this really idyllic, happy childhood. And if anything, it's more that he's the sort of spoilt son. And it's this sense of entitlement. And that's where Empire comes from, a sense of entitlement. Talk about ownership, You've got this fantastic riches. India will have that. So I think that he's done this shift of it that takes it out of what is very much a European attitude. Although he sort of mentions colonialism and all that, it's a really Central European thing. And there's a real, it's all that body perfectionism. And when you look at diet culture and all that sort of stuff, it all comes out of there, And
And eugenics and like trying to create the perfect
eugenics,
human. Yeah.
exactly. And I think she's sort of intuited something that's happening and that's frightening her, unnerving her. And so just let her say that. Let her genius speak instead of feeling like you've got to put your own all on top of it.
How did you feel about the fact that in the Guillermo del Toro version, he has set it in the Crimean War? And so we're looking,
Not your favorite war?
I'm all about
More of a ball girl.
I'm all about the Napoleonic Wars.
Yeah.
Because it's a different time. It's that incipient. It's, again, I'm coming back to that word, but it's that cusp of things. What's so fascinating is she wrote this. The Industrial Revolution was beginning, but it wasn't in the right full throttle. And I don't quite know why he would do that. And I don't know that it brings anything to it.
I think I purely think from a filmmaking standpoint, if we go back to the sort of the masculine filmmaking of like, here's how I created the monster. I'm going to top it because I'm going to do this version. So he has to set it in that period. So we have electricity as opposed to electric eels, which we'll get to. Because I'm glad we're not there again. But anyway, so he can use electricity. He can use like a sort of steampunk-esque technologies. He can harness big rooms.
Which that's James Whale too. I know that Del Toro is obsessed with that James Whale aesthetic as well. And that feels very much of that time, that large industrialized part. And I do think that the Christoph Waltz character works. I think that the idea of having that sort of war profiteer it doesn't hurt.
You could have had that in 1815 just as easily.
Yes, that's true.
If you're looking for an angel investor for Victor, you'd be getting an arms dealer from then for sure, because there were so many wars going on. I just want to say maybe it was an aesthetic thing, because that Regency period is really freaking ugly. It's like the hair's ugly. Very few people have done things that stay really true to it, because it's weird fashion.
Yeah, it's not lush.
it's not, well, it's lush, but it's so doily, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe that was an aesthetic decision to sort of move it later so that he could have different fashions and not be,
And
held.
so Oscar Isaac could be dressed like Prince.
I know what the water.
Well, that was a choice. Guillermo wanted to look like a rock star a bit. So he was like younger. He's like got open collar. Like he's the outsider, like the bad
He
boy.
looks like a middle-aged man dressed in like a middle-aged Lothario or something, doesn't he? Wasn't getting the Prince vibe at all.
Oh, the little fedora.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Dearly beloved.
You know who I did think that Jacob Elordi looked like, though?
Well,
You know the Gotcha clip?
That's exactly. I've written that in my notes. He looks like somebody that we used to know, that Gotcha and
Oh,
Kimbra.
yeah.
It's like some Frankie that I used to know. It's like all the da 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 da, and he's all just patchwork. I've got it in my notes the same thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Or a good-looking riffraff.
He does look like a good-looking riffraff.
And can I say, here's the Elordi problem with this movie, and bless you, Jacob Elordi, all 6'5". I googled it. You are so fucking handsome.
I know, right?
And then when Mia
Before my
Goth's
heart.
like, I was like, why is Mia Goth falling? Oh, yeah, well, no, I can see why.
Yeah. No, be still my lesbian heart. I mean, he's a fucking good specimen. Oh, can I swear? Whoops.
Yeah, we'll get
Absolutely. Please
Oh,
do.
thank God for that. Oh, I can relax now. Yeah, but it's interesting. I mean, that's also really, they've taken the monstrousness out of the monster, and I get why they want to do that, but especially when we're living in a time of political assassinations and all the craziness that's going on, that sort of damage that's done by that sort of rejection. Mary Shelley knew that. She was rejected by her own father for marrying Percy Shelley, a very enlightened man who rejected her and was very loving and eventually came around. But that profound sense of abandonment, I mean, that's such a strong theme throughout the whole book. It's core.
That's what it's about.
But it's extraordinary. She created two amazing characters, Frankenstein and the creature. They're both incredible. That's why it is a work of genius, among many other reasons.
And it's a criticism of men and how they're trapped in masculinity. It's a criticism of how man will try to build something or want to own something and then discard it, and the repercussions of that, whether you're a deadbeat dad or whether you're a mad scientist, when it comes back knocking at your door and you keep rejecting it, what that creates is what's seen as the monster.
I don't know why he didn't have a quote directly from her where she talks about if they'd stayed at home, the colonies wouldn't have happened. She goes through all these terrible things that have happened. It's an amazing quote. And she's going, it's because of that rejection of the feminine and this obsession with glory in the big wide world that all these horrors have been perpetrated. So she says it. It's an amazing sentence or two in the book. So she says, a human being in perfection ought always to preserve a calm and peaceful mind, and never to allow passion or a transitory desire to disturb his tranquility. I do not think that the pursuit of knowledge is an exception to this rule. If the study to which you apply yourself has a tendency to weaken your affections and to destroy your taste for those simple pleasures in which no alloy can possibly mix, then that study is certainly unlawful. That is to say, not befitting the human mind. If this rule were always observed, if no man allowed any pursuit whatsoever to interfere with the tranquility of his domestic affections, Greece had not been enslaved. Caesar would have spared his country. America would have been discovered more gradually, and the empires of Mexico and Peru had not been destroyed.
I remember when it's read in the audiobook by Dan Simmons as well, which I think you do even better.
Wow.
And it's just that it stuck out so clearly to me what she was trying to say.
We have ideas about the kind of thoughts people were capable of thinking at that time, and that we're so much more advanced. And you read that and you go, are we? Yeah.
Doomed to repeat, question mark.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the Branagh, because Kenny Brands, because you watched that one as well. We've watched quite a few. Hot takes for the Ken. This is a big moment in his career that I think he thought this is the one.
Oh, he definitely did. I watched an interview with him on Charlie Rose. So this was the week.
Wow, cursed.
Bless his heart. Kenneth, not Charlie. So this was the week before it comes out, and it's an hour long. I'll put it in the show notes. I'll put it down below so
Yikes.
anyone can watch it. And it's very interesting to see where he thinks this is going to go for his career.
And can I just quickly add, this is written by Frank Darabont, is one of the co-writers on the script. And Darabont has actually talked about this before. His script is on the internet for people to sort of go and have a look at. But he has spoken about the fact that this is the greatest script he's ever written
This is for the 94.
for the 94. He said, it's not the film that I saw though.
Ah,
And apparently that his script is still on the web. You can go find it, but you can see the Frank Darabont script.
oh, I'd
And
love to. Yeah.
apparently it is perfect. And apparently Guillermo thinks it's perfect. And he was more inspired to do this because of that. But let's talk
But
about
still didn't just do the Frank Darabont, had to do a whole lot of his own original dialogue. Yes, it's well, first of all, it's so histrionic, isn't it? It's very
God.
theatrical. I mean, the same with the Del Toro one. It borrows from everything. It's got a bit of Phantom of the Opera in there. It's like, what the what? You know, and inconsistencies in the story world. Like one minute he can, shove a huge ship, and the next minute I can't get out of his shackles. It's like, thanks, no. So, and you're just sitting there going, how can he bend a thing and you can't do that? Like,
And also he has like, back to the Del Toro, for me, I was like, what is he, Wolverine and Deadpool here? He can't be killed?
Yeah,
It's like,
he
it
keeps
just
healing
things
himself.
and then I woke up again and, fresh air in my lungs, awful.
yeah,
I'm like, all
yeah.
right.
I do like the fact that his stitching is so neat.
Well, because
You like
Kenneth
that?
Branagh's a terrible surgeon.
I like because I feel as oh God, Kenneth Branagh. Yeah.
Oh, you wouldn't get work from Ken. Oh, he'd be
He's
terrible.
like I had a patch. I don't know if you can even see it on my
yeah.
thumb. See that? I have
Yeah.
a brilliant surgeon, and he's done that. That's a few months ago, and he's like the second version. He's not got them big old stitches everywhere. I know what it's like to be Frankenstein. I've had a skin graft. The Branagh one it's got that sort of real sort of giddy theatre. The swirling cameras. I was trying to prove that he's not a theatre person. He's a movie
I
person.
wanted to vomit.
Oh.
God.
The
And
one
when
thing I thought that was powerful was the Justine moment, although it's still more devastating in the book, I think.
Yes.
But the Justine moment did give me that sort of a chill because it had that feel of, which was very current, of course. We're talking the mob,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
But even in the run up to that, Justine it loves this boy, absolutely loves him, but she's a bit tired, so she's gonna have a lie down in a barn.
Just might need a nap. Like, far out.
And
I
it's getting
know.
a bit dark. No, it's not. You didn't film it when it was dark enough, Ken.
No, I know it was a very strange leap. Similarly, why, I loved in the book that that Victor loved his little brother, not this silly
Yes.
rivalry that Del
Yes.
Toro brought in. I'm like, it's a bit simple sort of psychology of like, oh, this is why I'm driven because my other brother was the favorite. It's like there's none of that, and which is why it's so devastating as it unfolds in the book. You don't
And the fact he's a
stakes.
child, I think that where
Oh.
Kenneth, because Kenneth does keep to those sort of murders and why the murders happen. It's like,
Yes.
I will make you miserable because you've made me and I
Yeah,
am
it's
miserable.
revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am now othered and this is what I've learned about life. I've been taught this.
And it
I
also
think
brings up that idea of like, if you're taking parts and putting it together, where is the soul? What is it? If you're taking a criminal and all this sort of thing, which were the current ideas at the time, and the whole sort of phrenology of things. Because my great great grandfather did the death mask for the famous serial killer, grave robbers Burke and Hare, for William Burke. I wrote about him in my memoir, but my ancestor was an Italian sculptor, and because his mentor was involved with the Phrenology Society in Edinburgh, he did these were the two notorious. Burke and Hare were like probably the most famous grave robbers, and they actually serial killed, it was either 16 or 17 people, and he did the death mask for William Hare. William Burke, sorry. When I did Who Do You Think You Are? Because my mum would go, your great great grandfather did the death masks for Burke and Hare, and I was like, I don't think the timeline works, and then it's like, yeah, no, actually it does. So there
wow,
you go.
that's amazing. Also
Yeah.
frightening story to tell your daughter before you turn out the lights. Good night.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
Scottish.
yeah, great. Yeah, yeah. He was there dabbling with the cereal.
Can we talk about whether I thought that Kenny and HBC, Helena Bonham Carter, had the chemistry of a reanimated corpse? It just was not there.
Well,
They had the chemistry of brother and sister on film.
Because it was so busy. It was like busy, 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 busy. It was like which is it feels always like a lack of confidence to me in a director when they just clutter, clutter, clutter because they don't sort of feel confident that they can just let it be. And both of these two things, it's like they've got to just doing stuff. It's lack of trust in the material, and the material is so good. I'm
yeah.
really going to read that script now. Mm.
And it's so governed by ideas, like these are the pictures. At this point, we'll have Ian Holm without a shirt, covered in blood, kneeling on the stairs.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
In
They've
that
storyboarded their
set.
life out of it.
But the house looked like a theatre set.
Absolutely.
It was absolutely a theatre set. Wouldn't you have a banister? And those sort of things throw you out. But it completely looked like a theatre set, the whole
That's
thing.
Branagh.
It's
That's
Branagh.
like Kenny B.
Yeah. And, you know, as I said to Lisa, I did find him strangely attractive. Is that wrong?
It's not wrong at all.
No.
The heart desires what the heart desires.
Don't go
And
that
yours
far, Lisa.
desires
I'm down. Like,
no lips.
I said to speak of or to speak from. I'm just going to say it's not a big thing. It's just a little, you know, it's
Just a
and
little
I did
wrinkle.
say strangely attractive.
I mean, the thing that you know, Mark Kermode, the film reviewer, he speaks in defense of the Kenny B, because he thinks that he brings a level of vanity to Victor that is
Oh, yeah.
required,
Yeah, yeah,
which I can see.
Sure.
yeah, that's true, actually. Look, I'll probably go back and watch the Del Toro one and find a lot. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I liked about it as well. I have to be really clear about that. And I think especially when it gets into the creatures telling of the story, I really love
Yes.
that.
That was much better.
Yeah, although I thought the end was too sentimental. Her book is a klaxon sounding
Yeah.
a warning, and we are right at that precipice with AI now. It's like, it's strange to me that as we're just looking at the thing that will most change human history and human nature and perhaps be the end of us all, exactly what she's warning about, it's kind of like diminished because, oh, monster not that bad. Monster all right. Really? Monster okay.
But all of his behaviors are because of either self-defense or at no point is he acting out of malice.
Or
whereas-
evil,
In the
or
Del
whatever you
Toro.
want to call it.
In the Del Toro, yeah.
Yeah.
But also just to think about the fortune telling aspect of Mary Shelley. If you think about when this was released in 1994, they again thought that this was prescient of their time because of Dolly the sheep and the genetic modification and the birth of the internet and how that was going to affect us.
Yeah.
And everybody was saying the same stuff as we're saying now about the 2025.
And that's the strength of the story, and that's why it is perennial, because it's applicable to any age.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was your first on-screen Frankenstein, monster or Victor?
Might have been the Munsters, but also no, I hadn't really seen it on screen that much, but it might have been Young Frankenstein.
Perfect,
He
because
was my boyfriend.
I'm so glad we pivoted, because when we were watching the Kenny B the other night and he did the whole "I'm gonna make her live," and he did all that, and I was like, that was great. I said, can we just go watch just one time, just Gene Wilder ascend and do the big speech? And he looks up and he talks about throwing the gauntlet of science away, and he doesn't blink because he's just Gene Wilder. And you know, you've got Igor with the hump, you know, and I'm just like, I actually think it's, as an interpretation of it, I actually think it's better than a lot of the other ones, because I think it's got a purity in the comedy, and it takes the innocence of the monster, and I like Abby Normal. I love all the little additions.
Putting on the Ritz.
Putting on the Ritz is amazing.
It's so genius, isn't it? It's so
And Mel
genius.
Brooks didn't want that in the movie. Gene had to
No.
fight. Gene had to fight for it. He
Really?
said he had to fight to keep it in the film.
Do you know my dad wanted to call my brother Igor? Igor Szubanski. It's actually quite a good name. I mean,
It's actually not
It's
bad.
you know,
amazing.
in Eastern Europe, it's like that's just a name.
Yeah.
You know, my father was called Zbigniew. Now, come on. I mean, he's not going to bat an eyelid at Igor. But yeah, I'll need to go back and watch that actually because Mel Brooks so funny.
I think Fred Gwynn was my first. As Herman Munster was my first sort of Frankenstein introduction, Frankenstein monster introduction, and then Young Frankenstein, and then I think maybe Abbott and Costello versus Frankenstein. So mine are all comedy, which is really
Yeah,
interesting. For my generation is all like, if we missed the drive-in movie version, or it was all cartoons and comedy by then, it had become commodified and sort of
completely. And I had no idea. And I came to the book quite late. It was some of my mates they had a book club and they were there. I was staying at a friend's house and they came around to read it. And I went, oh, this book sounds amazing. I had no interest in it actually because of the way it's been interpreted. And then when I read it, I was like, oh, they have done her such a disservice.
yeah, we've
They've
had
done her
100 years of
such a
like,
disservice.
and actually he talks about reading Paradise Lost. It's incredible.
Oh, yeah. So it was just,
Paradise Lost, the only book that's quoted in any of Jane Austen's work. Just
is
gonna
it?
bring it back. Yeah.
Look at
Oh,
you.
I had some other Austen stuff just real quick. She would have been influenced by Mary Wollstonecraft. She never mentions it by name, but several of her novels contain allusions to Wollstonecraft's work.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, they also in the Guillermo one, they do the Ozymandias quote, which is of course
Oh
Percy.
yeah.
Yes.
A nod to Percy, which is cute.
But that's the thing, it quotes Byron and Shelley more than it bloody well quotes her. It's like,
Right?
use some of her
Yes.
great lines. You don't need the Ozymandias. I mean, I love that poem. How Shelley, after she writes, Frankenstein, he then goes and writes Prometheus Unbound. It's like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay,
But
babe.
we know which one has stood the test of time.
This is
They didn't
true.
make a monsters out of Prometheus Unbound, did they?
Michael Well didn't. Okay, I
No,
got a
you
quick
won't hear,
Franken.
you don't hear anyone doing like young Ozymandias. No.
No. Okay, I got a young Franken game for both of you. So the Franken game is I went to Just Watch, which is a little app I use. Like, where can I watch something? Great app.
Great.
If you don't use it, anyone just go out there and get
So
it.
handy.
It's amazing. And there were so many versions of Frankenstein. Some of them are amazing. Frankenstein Conquers the World. It's set in World War II. Germans obtained the immortal heart of Frankenstein's monster and transported it to Japan to keep it being seized by the Allies, kept in a Hiroshima laboratory. And then years later, the atom bomb goes off and then, hilarity assumes. Frankenstein, the college years. That was one of my favorite ones that came up on this. There's also other titles, which was Frankenstein in a women's prison.
We have had that. It's Prisoner.
The freak was Frankenstein.
Yeah. Hello.
Frankenhooker, I think we know what that's about. One of my favorite ones was Frankenstein General Hospital.
What?
I think the monster is the surgeon.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah. Obviously Blackenstein, because you have blaxploitation. And my favorite one, and there's no reference of what this means, you can't find it anywhere, but it's the best title, Frankenstein's Great Aunt Tilly.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, I'm just waiting for the Franken Epstein or the Frank Weinstein or Frank Epstein. Aren't they the obvious?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, listen to Mary back in the day.
Mary knew what was going on.
Magda.
Mary saw straight through those genii. She saw straight through them.
She did.
Mags, thank you so much for today.
Oh, pleasure. Absolute pleasure. So fun. Feel free to edit because I think I've waffled on in parts. So
No,
No,
it's great. No,
you're
it's
amazing.
fabulous.
snippety snip snip.
Can we just discuss your hair?
Oh, this. Yeah,
Yes.
no, that's just how it's growing back out of the chemo. You know how some people it comes back curly and other people straight? I've got both. So I've got curly. And then it's actually just the chemo's grown itself into a bun, which is,
Extraordinary. Modern science.
Mary knew it.
Mary knew it. She knew it. I've got Franken hair.
We love you, lady.
Love you,
you so
ladies.
much.
Bye now.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
That was amazing.
Oh, that was so fun.